everybody? Welcome back to another video, and I actually have some news for you guys, okay? I know it's kind of strange because the day that the trade deadline happens, there's nothing to talk about. But the day after the trade line, there's actually stuff to talk about. So let's get it started. We have a couple of good things to talk about. One thing, I'm not sure if it's going to be good or bad. It should be good. And the other thing is definitely a really good thing, okay? So let's get it started. Detroit Lions have signed Michael Jackson to their active roster from the Cowboys practice squad. Michael Jackson was a guy, I can remember watching this man play in college for Miami. As we know, Miami's all about the turnover. When he played cornerback for the Miami Hurricanes, he was a really good cornerback, especially in his junior season. There was a lot of hype around him. His senior season, you could say, wasn't as good as his junior season. He was still a pretty solid cornerback, and he ended up with the Dallas Cowboys in the 5th round, and he didn't play for the Dallas Cowboys really at all. He was cut, and then he was brought to their practice squad, and now the Detroit Lions have taken him off the practice squad. So this is a really young player drafted in the 2019 draft. When you look at Michael Jackson, he has a lot of attributes that you really like to see. He's 6'1", he's 210 pounds, he ran a 4.45 40-yard dash, which is insanely fast, 13 bench press reps, which isn't bad, and he has a 40.5-inch vertical. He's fast, he's athletic, he's big, he's strong. All of that stuff that goes into Michael Jackson is a really good reason for us to bring him in. As we know, the Detroit Lions secondary didn't look so great, and we really haven't been with Amani for a long time. He's been dealing with a lot of injuries, so Amani really hasn't been here. So we bring in Michael Jackson, and this guy could actually have an impact. I know sometimes we bring in guys and nothing happens, we release them next day. There could possibly be that situation with Michael Jackson, but I think this guy could actually play an impact, especially versus the Raiders. When you think about the Lions secondary, they're still without Darius Slay. We'll see if he comes back and he plays this weekend. I wouldn't count on it. Like I said, Amani's still out, so you do want to add some depth to that positional group. Junior season, he had 43 tackles, 4 interceptions, 5 pass breakups, and then in the senior season, 42 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and 6 pass breakups. So you can see pretty consistently a solid player, and he did a lot of good things for the Miami Hurricanes. One thing that he was actually known for doing was blitzing as a cornerback, and that was something that really helped him out and really got him recognized to get sacks and get tons of tackles for loss because he was blitzing off of the cornerback position was really nice, and I think the Lions will utilize that a little bit. Matt Patricia, he's really good at getting players in those kind of situations. We'll see if he's out there and he gets a couple opportunities like that. Just built to play the cornerback position very well against big wide receivers. Now, there are a couple of downsides, obviously, with every player. I would say the one thing is that he's not so great adjusting the quick routes, which can be tough, but sometimes when you play on the outside, you don't have to worry about that as much as you play a slot position. He's also kind of scheme dependent, and what I mean by that is basically he needs to be in a scheme that fits his play style, and it looks like the Lions may believe that is their play style. So if it is, this could be a perfect fit for the Detroit Lions. He's a very young player. He's got all the attributes to be a really good player, and I'm just excited that they finally made a move because after the trade deadline, I was like, are you serious? Nothing happened. I mean, there was nothing to talk about. I couldn't even go and say, look, hey, the Browns did something. No, nothing happened. I didn't know what to talk about. So at least we have some news here that the Detroit Lions go get a cornerback. We'll see if he plays for the Lions at all. But since we decided to bring him to the active roster, we ended up releasing Paul Perkins from the roster, who we got from the New York Giants, and he played a very little bit. I believe he had 3 carries in our last game against the Giants. He wasn't really into the mix very much, and it kind of seemed like, yeah, he didn't really fit. And now we're left with Trey Carson, Ty Johnson, and J.D. McKissic. So I think we learned a little bit about who our running backs are going to be after the Giants game, right? I think we really learned, okay, maybe he's not the guy. We have our 3 guys here, and as we know, the Detroit Lions didn't trade for anyone either, so we're with those 3 running backs, okay? The Trey Carson, the Ty Johnson, J.D. McKissic look to be our 3 guys to go. We'll see if they make any moves to go bring another running back, because there's options out there. There's a lot of free agent options, so that definitely could happen. Not only that, the Lions also signed an offensive lineman, Casey Tucker, okay? Now, this guy was signed to the practice squad, not the active roster, but he really fills in there, undrafted out of Arizona State, and spent his first 3 years with Stanford. This is a very big offensive lineman. I believe he's 6'6", okay? It's a very big offensive lineman, but again, he's on the practice squad, so we'll see what happens there. But now let's get into the best news of the video. Austin Bryant is here, man. Austin Bryant is back. Now, he's not necessarily back to the point where, hey, we're going to see him play. No. He's back, though. He has a 21-day window where the Lions will decide, are we going to keep him on our active roster or are we going to put him back on IR? That is the window that we have. And if you look at 21 days, well, that's 3 weeks, so that means about week 11, right? So either way, he's back to practice today off of IR, so that's a great sign. He won't be back for a few weeks, but I think this is just awesome to see that Austin Bryant is out there practicing. He's told us before, once I get back, you're going to know I'm back, okay? I'm going to be ready to get back. and I'm super excited to see what Austin Bryant can do with the Detroit Lions. He's got options, right? He can play on the defensive line if we need him to. He can also play outside linebacker. This is going to be really exciting to see when he gets back, but this is the first step to getting back to playing on the field, is getting into practice. Hopefully he performs in practice, and the Lions are like, all right, you know what? This guy's going to really help us on the active roster, okay? So that's really your news for today. I'm sorry. I'm just excited because we finally see something happen. Okay, yesterday was such a letdown in so many ways, and I wasn't that mad the Lions didn't make a move. It was more the fact that there was like literally nothing to talk about after 3 hours. It was like, wow, there is just nothing here, okay? So at least today we made some moves. Let me hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.